UFC 317 Topuria versus Oliveira is upon us, guys, which means Mr. Kenny Cap is coming on, guys. First of all, our main event streak has been looking good at main events this year, but I'm really feeling confident about this card, guys. Like, listen, if you ever believe me right now when I say I'm going to go 100%, guys. I really believe this is the card. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to impose my dominance on this card and show them my Mr. Kenny never left. You already had a Mr. Kenny prediction with the Khalil Jamal fight. Told you guys it was going to be easy for Khalil. He made it look easy. But let's talk about this full card, starting with this one-sided ass whooping. Jacoby Smith, 10-0 right now, versus Nico Price, the how do I say this? You guys know the gatekeepers, like gatekeepers keep away people. Nico Price is a gate pusher. He makes he makes sure to push the gate open when he sees an up-and-comer. And going against Jacoby Smith, whose wrestling is through the roof. And he's coming off a knockout victory, so he's showing knockout power. His wrestling's actually elite. When I say good wrestling, guys, I want you to actually look at his wrestling and probably in this fight and see how well he does it. At 5'10", he's strong physically. His body, pause. You know, he looked like me a little bit. You know, I'm strong, handsome guy. He's a strong, handsome guy. Jokes aside, he's going to mow through Nico Price pretty confidently in the grappling, in the striking. He's going to have more power. Nico Price doesn't have the best chin. That chin will be tested against the likes of a Jacoby Smith. No matter what way you slice the cake, guys, I'm telling you right now, Jacoby Smith will win in dominant fashion. I'm actually on the Jacoby Smith hype train, as in I believe top 5 potential with the guy. You know, skill for skill, real bad, man. This is how I view Jacoby Smith. So don't think it's just like, you know, some regular schmegler, you know, calm and collected, cool guy just going to beat up Nico Price. The guy who's going to win today, he's a real problem. Watch how bad he does Nico Price. And I know it's a Nico Price fight, but trust me, his skills, brother, he look handsome guy like me, brother, so trust me. All right, this is a short notice. Alvin Hines is stepping on short notice against Jahanta Dinze. Dinze was riding a crazy win streak, guys, right before he fought Tybura. And then, of course, he lost to Tybura. I believe he got finished. But Tybura is still one of the best heavyweights on the planet. Like I said, before Dinze, before that fight, he was running through anyone. This guy's making his debut on short notice. I just don't see him doing much against Dinze. I got Dinze going to use his big 6'4" Brazilian power. He's going to impose his dominance on Hines. Don't know much about Hines, but what I've seen from him is like he's going to just be another plodding heavyweight. You know, you guys know these unranked heavyweights. I think it's a pretty easy win for Dinze, so I'm definitely going Dinze over Hines, 110-fold easy. Oh my goodness. Every time I see Cedric Dumas, every time I see Dumas in a fight, like, it almost makes me just want to go the other guy for some reason. I don't know why, and I'll be lying to you guys. I said I know much about Jackson McVee. What I do know, he's making his UFC debut against Cedric Dumas. I wish they said odds, but it was a short notice fight that just came together, so I doubt there's going to be odds for here. Don't know much about McVee. What I knew about Dumas is like he folds to pressure. He folds to just power. And if you put anything on him, like a little bit more pepper on your punches, he's going to fold. I don't know what it is about Dumas. When he feels adversity, he just shows up. He feels like a little, you know, he looks like a girl. His last fight was very embarrassing. He just looked shit. He didn't look like he should be there. I just don't want to, I would not bet on a Dumas fight. What's pissing me off about this fight is that, like, this might be the fight that cost me my 100% streak, you know. Because I'm going to get every pick right on this card. This fight is just, it's 50-50. I will say, of course, he's UFC experienced. The other guy's making his debut. He's probably trying to make a name off Dumas. And Dumas, when he's using his range well, he's really good. But after his last performance, I just can't go him. I'm going the debutant off of vibes and off of hairline and aesthetically pleasing physiques. Jackson McVee, I'm counting on you. Destroy Dumas. After Dumas' last performance, he literally looked so bad, overextending on his punches. Looked like he shouldn't even be in the ring. I'm not going Dumas ever again. I think I picked him in that fight, you know. Yeah, no. Dumas is not winning. He's a shitty middleweight, and he has problems in the real world. We're not getting into that. Early prelims complete. Let's start off the prelims, I believe this is. And Borshev and McKinney. Dude, McKinney's finally riding momentum, and Borshev's coming off a tough loss. But, guys, McKinney looks good, and he looks powerful, and he's still game. But he's like the young Michael Johnson. Like, he's a hit or miss. Like, a 50-50 fights all around. But Borshev's not one of those people you could go in with that 50-50 mindset and outperform. I know McKinney's going to chase the first round finish, and Borshev's a finisher too, but Borshev also has shown some good durability in contrast to McKinney, who I feel like when he goes through adversity, he's kind of starting to wither. You know, their striking styles are interesting. I do think Borshev's the more traditional, better striker. I think McKinney's more of the explosive. Let me try to overwhelm you with my explosivity and try to land some good punches. And if I land on you, you're probably going to go to sleep. But if you land on me, I'm going to go to sleep. No way I'm picking McKinney in this fight off of just the fact that He's not trustworthy in the sense that, like, I don't trust him when he goes into the fray because he doesn't really have good defensive attributes. And someone like Borshev, who could go low, middle, high with those kicks and just mix it up better, he's going to give McKinney a hard time. I'm going Borshev. Rashev for the win, brother. Dale. McKinney's not bad per se. He's just not reliable. And I feel like against, like, good fighters who show some promising attributes, McKinney's never really going to do good against them. McKinney would do a good against someone with no hairline, low physique, a little bit chubby guy, but against a Borshev, brother, no doubt. This is my opinion. So I'm going Borshev over McKinney for this one, 100%. Man, women's MMA, okay, regardless of who I pick here, guys, do not put money on any of these women. One thing about women's MMA, you can't believe a thing. Viviane Araújo versus Tracy Cortez, otherwise known as, like, my girlfriend. Listen, bro, I don't talk about it too much, brother, but what happens behind the scenes happens, So my Mexican body, I'll let it go. Tracy's good. Araújo is good. Tracy's last performance, she got outworked, but it was because she was outskilled. I don't think she's outskilled necessarily in this performance against the Brazilian. I think the striking of Tracy Cortez is a little bit green and goofy, and sometimes she gets her eyelashes punched off her face, but she's still good. Like, she's not bad. She still has strong wrestling. She's a strong base. She actually has the height advantage over this girl. She has some good kicks at range. It's just a WMMA, so I would not put them on a parlay. But I'm leaning Cortez because she's a little bit more experienced and she went against, like, the championship caliber opponents in contrast to Araújo, I think it is. But yeah, I'm going Tracy Cortez, guys. But like I said, this is my most confident pick, probably my least confident pick, even less confident than my freaking picking against Dumas back there. Like, WMMA is unreliable. It's flyweight weight class especially. But I do got Tracy Cortez off of just aura mogging and her grappling ability when she needs to. She doesn't always grapple when she needs to. Dale, she'll deliver. This is an interesting fight. Hyder Emil and Jose Miguel Delgado. Delgado looked very promising in his last fight. I remember I was very impressed the way Delgado looks. He has good power in his hands. He's going against Emil, who's going to be active, like, in the hands as well. But I feel like Delgado hits a good amount. Like, he hits with a good amount of power. And if the grappling needs to be present, Delgado will bring the grappling. Delgado's just a well-rounded fighter in contrast to Emil, who I feel like is a good striker. I don't really know how Emil is 11-0. From what I remember, he didn't really do anything that stood out to me in his last performance. But he's winning, so that's one thing. I am feeling Delgado heavy on this. I do not know the odds. They're not even available. Close fight. But I do think Delgado has the power to overwhelm him. I think Delgado has the grappling ability if he wants to, just to mix it up. Emil's probably not easy to take down. 100% takedown defense unofficially. I'm saying unofficially because I don't know how much people actually shoot on him. But I know that Delgado's going to average a couple of takedowns if he needs to. Not if he wants to, but if he needs to. But I feel like Delgado's just going to be a dog. Use that Mexicano, brother. You're not going to knock him out like Emil probably wants to. And Emil being 11-0 is interesting, but someone's O got to go, and I do not trust. Bro said someone's O got to go. This nigga this guy already has an L. But one thing about these undefeated fighters who aren't proven, they're not promising to ever put money on. I'm not trusting Emil. He has good striking, but I don't think his striking is going to be too much to overwhelm Jose Delgado, who has a Mexicano chin. So I'm going Delgado for the win, and it's going to be a close banger fight. Good fight. Philippines versus USA is going to be cool. Okay, the Joker. We got Hermanson and RoboCop. RoboCop is coming off his loss against Jerry Cannonier, guys, but I don't look at RoboCop in a negative way. As far as, like, I don't look at RoboCop and think to myself, he looked horrible in the Cannonier fight. Cannonier's abnormally durable in that fight, and some of the fight could have been finished, It's not easy staying in front of RoboCop for majority of the fight. That being said, Hermanson has always shown up and kind of just beat people. Like, he showed up, fraud checked fucking Pyfer, then kind of dipped for another 2 years. Hermanson's inactivity might cost him here, though, against a RoboCop, who I feel like he's going to be in your face. And the ring rust, you're not going to really get time to shake out the ring rust because RoboCop's going to constantly be on the pressure and backing up Hermanson. It's going to be a dogfight. And I don't know if Hermanson's ready to get back in the dogfighting fray after being kind of inconsistent in his last previous fights. But like I said, beating Pyfer is aging good, I suppose, because Pyfer kind of beat up Gaslam, just didn't show any urgency. But RoboCop's just not good to be standing in front of, guys. I don't. Scary, fuck, dude. Scary thing to be in front of. I feel like I'm going to lean RoboCop by KO or points. I just don't think Hermanson's boxing is not bad, but I do not think he's going to be ready for, like, the physical presence of a RoboCop in his heavy hands. Yes, Cannonier survived it, but not everyone on the planet could survive it. Getting hit with these significant strikes are very problematic, so I'm going to lean RoboCop, who's also going to be strong in the clinch. He's a slight favorite, but I understand why he's only a slight favorite, because Jack Hermanson, when he shows up good. I just don't think the ring rust is something reliable to go off of. I'm going RoboCop 100. Bro, almost at 100%. I'm going RoboCop 74%, brother. I'm gonna make sure my percentages aren't misleading. All right, we're finally on the main card. This one's interesting, dude. Peyton Talbot, Felipe Lima. They're both really good. And people are counting out Peyton Talbot from his last performance. You guys actually got to look at the Peyton Talbot performance and remember something, guys. Peyton Talbot was wrestled, because if it wasn't for the wrestling, he would have won the fight, in my opinion. Felipe Lima does mix in grappling and wrestling and does mix in striking. If Felipe Lima falls into the delusion of being okay with kind of sitting in front of Talbot and exchanges blows, Talbot could get the better of him in some of these exchanges. But just how quick Felipe Lima is from his punches to his takedown entries is very surprising. But he's also 5'6". He's a short guy. Talbot being 5'10", 5'11"-ish. He's going to be the longer ranger guy. He's going to use his range probably to his advantage. Try to keep Felipe Lima at bay and use that, keep him at the end of his jab and his straight punches. But the fact that Lima's just quick and kind of a pit bull, and he could kind of take a shot to give one. He has good head movement. He's slick. It's just hard to go against Lima, especially because Talbot is going through a humbling situation where he's supposed to be that guy, then gets taken down and mauled, taken down 8 times in a row. And Lima does have that wrestling as well if he needs to, like I said. Striking is going to be interesting. Like I said, Talbot is going to be rangy, but I do think Felipe Lima is a little bit more tools at his disposal in contrast to Talbot. Talbot's not necessarily easy to take down, by the way. I know he's lanky, but, we'll see how Lima works with this. But I feel like Lima, this is a close fight, though. I feel like people are saying Lima's going to smoke him. It's way closer than that. But I am going to lean Felipe Lima here. The odds aren't available. I feel like Felipe Lima is just a little bit more well-rounded, and he has that dog in him, Talbot's tough, and he's going to be lanky, and he's going to use his striking to his advantage, but this is a step up in competition since his last fight, and he lost his last fight. I'm going Felipe Lima. It's going to be closer than you guys are trying to make it out to be, but I do think Felipe Lima pulls it out, maybe split decision. But yeah, this fight is so good, Fuck. Dude, Joshua Van is overly... How active is this guy, bro? How active is this guy? And Brandon Royval. If this was a 5-round fight, I might even lean Royval, guys. It's a 3-round fight. That's different, and people need to know that's big. Royval is known for his cardio and putting it on you and not fatiguing. Joshua Van, same thing, but we've seen Royval do it for a longer period of time, where we've seen Joshua Van mostly do it for 3 rounds. This is a 3-round fight. Royval in his last fight was kind of getting out dominated by Tyra, but he was outstriking Tyra. But the thing about Tyra, guys, he has no head movement. This is quite literally the opposite of a Tyra. The opposite of no head movement is a Joshua Van. Slick head movement, quick, 1-2s down the pipe, quick hands, speed crazy, agility crazy. This guy dangerous guy, a little bit, be careful, Bro, this is hard, man. Joshua Van, he's impressing me the more I see him. Yes, Bruno Silva's old, but his reactivity. A reactive striker, and I know he's really active. People could use it as a negative thing. He's looking like he's taking too much damage. I do think you're being really active, especially against a Royval who's going to be game, But maybe activity, he's not going to feel any kind of ring rust. He's going to keep wanting to impose his dominance and his pressure. Royval's going to have a different kicking approach that probably Van's never seen, sporadic, elusive, quick kicks from low to high to body. He's going to mix it up. That's going to be different for Van to get used to. But if Royval falls into the lull of having a primary boxing match with a Van who's really reactive and really good at slipping and dipping and countering, it's going to be a long night for Royval. This is a very close fight. I do not know the odds. I know I'm going to pick, but I don't know the odds. Royval's a slight favorite. And I like that he's a slight favorite because he should be the slight favorite because he's the man. Joshua Van is not. Joshua Van's going to beat him, though. Hey, dale, brother. Joshua Van's going to get him. Joshua Van seems like right now he's riding good momentum. He's really elusive. He's really quick, and his hands are going to be a little bit too much for Royval. Royval coming off his last victory, he looked great on the feet primarily, but you got to remember, Tyra not having head movement was why a lot of the straight punches from Royval were landing. It's going to be a very hard situation for him against a Van. Against Royval and Moreno the first time before Moreno kind of got complacent and wasn't really throwing, it showed that Royval struggles with that boxing style. He did improve against Moreno the second fight, but I really feel like it was because Moreno's inactivity and was kind of burnt out. He wasn't really throwing. We don't have to worry about Van not throwing. He's not going to just high guard and walk you down. He's going to high guard, walk you down. He's going to try to be very reactive, slip and dip, and land on you. I do think Van's going to overwhelm him in a 3-round fight, and he's going to get the win. He could go through some adversity early, but as the round go along, I don't think Royval's going to fatigue, but I do think Van's going to pick up pressure and he's going to pick up confidence. And Van, the 23-year-old, might go out there and beat Royval and jump a huge jump amount in the rankings. Because Royval is like next for a title. Like, he's in the conversation, at least, for next for the title. If he beats a guy like Van, who's riding crazy momentum, looking good, he's definitely next for the title. And if Van beats Royval, now we're talking about the 23-year-old fighting for the belt soon. I don't know when John Jones becomes champion, but damn, like, Van's going to be one of the youngest champions as well. He has the potential to, at least. We'll see how he does. You know, there's some other people in the division who are dangerous, but I feel like this is like a number one contender fight for whoever wins the co-main event of this card. But I got Van officially. That's what I'm sticking with. But no, Dariush and Renato Moicano, brother. Moicano wants money. What people forget about Dariush that I feel like they don't understand is that Dariush, before he lost to Charles and Armin, who are really good, by the way, he was riding crazy momentum. But not only that, in 2022, he destroyed Gamrot really bad, and that was like prime Gamrot. Gamrot still looks good to this day, but 2022 Gamrot was a scary guy, and he destroyed him. Stuffed all his takedowns, overhanded him, dropped him, embarrassed him. He destroyed him in that aspect. And then you look at Moicano. In 2022, Moicano was getting his ass kicked by what's his name? RDA. Like, they were so different in 2022. And I know they both rode crazy win streaks. The only difference is Dariush lost his win streak to Armin and Charles. You know, Moicano losing to Islam, that's warranted. He looked like he shouldn't be in there with Islam. At least Dariush looked like he shouldn't be in there either with Armin. But point being said is it's a harder fight for Moicano, in my opinion, than Dariush. And I feel like Dariush is going to have that you must have forgot moment. You guys forgot how good Dariush is. Yes, riding crazy momentum. Yes, he lost to Charles by knockout, and he lost to Armin by knockout. These guys aren't bad. I do think it was a timing thing. You know, wrong place at the wrong time, which is why he got caught. But Dariush is still so good to me, and I think he's better than Moicano. I know he's better than Moicano. I don't even know what the odds are gonna be. Yeah, he's gonna be the underdog. I like the underdog. Listen, Van and Dariush are both underdogs. Keep your eyes on both of those underdog picks, because Dariush is gonna be good. You know, Moicano's gonna be game. But just because Moicano's game doesn't mean he's going to go in there and beat Beneil Dariush, who has gray hairs, by the way, at the age of like 20. Bro, he's not 20. At the age of like early 30s, he has gray hair already. I don't know, man. I'm going Beneil Dariush to beat Moicano. They're both good grapplers. Maybe they respect their grappling, stay on the feet. But even then, the way Dariush was kind of doing Gamrot, I'm not saying Gamrot's great on the feet, but Dariush has a pretty speedy overhand. He has some good power, more than Moicano, in my opinion. I think Dariush is the guy to beat, and I think Moicano's the guy to get beaten. So I'm going Beneil Dariush officially for my pick. And that might surprise people, but I trust me, brother. I'm the best. Co-main event of the evening, man. I've been wanting to talk about this for multiple reasons. One reason being, since the start of my channel, I've been telling you guys Kai Kara-France will be champion. He will beat Pantoja. And now he's in a co-main event spot against Pantoja. So it's going to be interesting. They're both like 5'4", 5'5". They're both small guys. I think Pantoja is 5'5". Kai Kara-France is 5'4". But Kai Kara-France has a longer reach. And what Kai does so well is that when he blitzes, it's not like a Moreno blitz, like a single overhand and then back up and high guard. It's a overhand, switch step, hook, switch step again, boom. He really does a really good job backing you up and multiplying his combos. Like, he's a lot to look at. He's not easy. He's not easy to get out the way with, and he has power. One thing about Pantoja that gets him bailed out a lot is his chin. He'll run into shots, but he's okay with taking some shots because he has a good chin. If there's one flyweight on the planet Earth to not take a clean shot from, in my opinion, is Kai Kara-France. I don't think you want to get hit clean by Kai Kara-France. And Pantoja, trust his chin like how he always does. He's a big bad guy. Trusting his chin. He's going to get chinned. I think. So this is an interesting fight in that aspect, but I really believe full-heartedly that Kai Kara-France is the guy to beat Pantoja, and one of the only guys to beat Pantoja. Pantoja probably beats everyone else in this division, but I think his time is coming, and I think it's Kai Kara-France. I know they fought. I'm pretty sure they fought before. Pantoja got the best of him, but this is a different Kai Kara-France. Even Kai Kara-France versus Moreno, when he got body kicked, I'm telling you guys, look at the fight. Before the body kick, he was doing great work. He does a good job making it a dogfight, and like I said, his power is the equalizer here. Pantoja can't just keep walking shots down. Yes, you destroyed a Skura, bro. We're not worried about a rising champion, buddy. This is UFC, man. This is the real deal. And then when Kai Kara-France knocks him out, man, and just gets on the octagon, does the cringe stuff that people think is cringe, it's aura, man. He's gonna do it. I think he's the guy to beat Pantoja. We're gonna have to see how the fight plays out, but I think he's gonna be too much for Pantoja. And I know Pantoja's gonna try to grapple and wrestle, but Kai Kara-France's scrambling ability is way better than every other flyweight. What's it called? Amir Albazi going 0 for 11 or something against Kai Kara-France. He couldn't hold him down. He couldn't take him down. This is a different kind of guy. Great scrambler, great defensive wrestling, and great power. That's exactly what you need to do to beat Pantoja. If Kai Kara-France can't do it Saturday night, Pantoja will never lose, in my opinion. He will retire the GOAT. This is a big fight, but I'm telling you guys, I've been saying it. You guys got to trust me. If you trust Mr. Kenny, man, you're going Kai Car France to beat Pantoja and shock the world. What are the odds? Plus 250. Okay. Let me just say something. Yeah. Just watch what happens when they fight. Let me just leave it at that. Watch what happens when they fight. Underdog. Should I say underdog lock of the night? There's so much underdog locks I could say, so I don't want to call this an underdog lock. But we'll talk about the parlays a little bit later. And for the main event of the evening, you guys already know the fight. I don't know why it's taking so long to load. Okay, anyways, I'm going to do a stylistic breakdown tomorrow, just to further emphasize this point. But I've seen some good. Why does it say? It's just in this website it says his country is Germany. Ilia, that's weird. But Charles is going to come in. He's going to try to use his size. He's going to try to walk Ilia down like he should. And I know Ilia is saying he's banking on Charles walking him down so he could catch him coming in and end the fight in the first round. That being said, it's going to be a tough fight for both. I do feel like people are counting out Charles' size and his clinch ability. When Charles gets you in the clinch, his knees, very overwhelming. His size, if he presses you up against the fence, everything he does with his size. He uses his frame that looks a little bit skinny very well. Like, he's a strong guy. Ilia Topuria coming up in weight. He looks dense. His back fills out pretty nice. Like, he looks like he's strong enough, but the size and the height is going to be different. They're just bigger guys at lightweight, He's listed at 5'7", but he's not the biggest brawler he is. Like, I always compare him to Armin because they're both 5'7", but I feel like Armin fills out a lot better physically. So when Armin and Charles would get in some grappling situations, you'll see Armin was physically stronger, so he's able to do certain things that I feel like Ilia Topuria wouldn't be able to do necessarily. It's going to be interesting in that aspect. But like I said, Charles' pressure and his clinch and all that, it's a double-edged sword because pressuring Ilia's used to chasing people down, and finding the comedy. Almost like people are running for him. And Ilia's like, give me a second. You got me this time. But next round, it's going to be weird because it could end quickly if Charles does what he usually does and does something that puts himself out of position, like his flying knee, his head kick, anything that he does that's kind of when he removes from the ground, when his body gets off the ground, he's doing something sporadic. It always puts him in compromising positions. Even when he throws knees, he kind of like keeps his guard loose. Even he has a high guard, but it's always loose. Like, he land hooks through it and multiple stuff. And Charles is susceptible to getting rocked like damn near every single fight, which is also concerning. And you're going against Ilia, who hits harder than everyone, pound for pound. Let me tell you guys something. This is going to be the hardest puncher Ilia's ever went against, and vice versa. Charles is never going to be hit by someone like Ilia. Yes, Justin hits hard. I'm telling you guys, when Ilia hits people, they don't move at 155 and 145. Josh Emmett, what's his name? Jeremy Stevens. When I hit people, they don't move. I'm telling you guys, when Ilia touches this guy, it's going to be bad. The thing is, like, similar to Islam, I said this. When Islam rocks Charles, he's going to jump on him. He's going to finish him. When Ilia rocks Charles, he's going to jump on him. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish him with a submission or anything. He's going to go for that. But Ilia's confidence on the ground with Charles might be to his detriment. Like, a lot of people believe Ilia's confidence on the ground is warranted. But it might. I know Charles typically does get dropped and, like, he wants people coming on the ground. He'll do the same thing to Ilia. And Ilia would trust his grappling and try to get on the ground with him. I just don't think it'll be in Ilia's best interest. I don't think Ilia's quite on Islam's level and Islam's strength. Like, Islam had the squeeze that, like, Charles panic tapped. Charles would want him on the ground, and Charles would probably be the better grappler on the ground, even if he gets rocked. I think Ilia's confidence might get him in trouble there. That being said, a lot of the times when Charles gets hurt, he gets rocked and he drops. The thing about Ilia landing clean on you, it might not be a rock then drop situation. It might be that, okay, he hit me so hard I'm unconscious, or he hit me so hard that I really don't have my wits about me at all, and I'm just shelling up. I have no offensive BJJ to even present. That could be the case too. Like, I really feel like Ilia Topuria has a really good chance of knocking this guy out, but I also feel like there's a world where Charles makes it a dogfight, drags it to the later rounds, and can try to drown Ilia and submit him like he does with some of these other guys, like the Dustin Poirier, dragging him to the later rounds and just putting the beating on them and finishing them. Same with the Justin Gaethje's, fatiguing them. Charles just has a weird and gas tank where he just doesn't stop moving forward, and he's very lanky, and he uses his length to, like, push you back. He's very overwhelming. It's going to be interesting, the front foot shift, because I'm sure both of them are going to walk each other down, so it's going to be interesting there. I think Ilia's going to be the guy who succeeds in the pressure more so, and I feel like it's going to cause Charles to circle and probably get Charles a little bit tired, but yeah, officially, like, who do I think's going to win? Officially, I am going to probably go Ilia Topuria by KO points. Stylistic breakdown, I'll break it down even further probably tomorrow. But I do think Ilia Topuria goes in there and he beats Charles Oliveira up by KO points. Does Charles have a chance? Yes. Does he have a significant chance? Probably not. But I am going Ilia Topuria officially. That being said, parlay for the people. Let's start at the bottom. I didn't want to put Jacoby Smith because he's so obviously going to win. He's probably a huge favorite. Let's go for parlay, guys. Okay, let's go safe parlay first. Safe parlay says, okay, no such thing as safe parlay. Let's just go for a parlay. RoboCop, KO points. Joshua Van, KO points. Dariush, money line. And Ilia Topuria, KO points. Now, let's go for the risky but worth it parlay. I'm going to tell you guys what to do right now. You're going to go Borshev, money line. You're going to go RoboCop, KO points. You're going to go Lima, money line. You're going to go Van, money line. You're going to go Dariush, money line. Kaikar France, money line. And Ilia Topuria, KO points. Or Ilia Topuria, money line, because you might submit him. Those are the two parlays I'll go for. The first one's guaranteed. Second one is risky, but I'd say guaranteed. But overall, bro, let me know what you guys think about this down below, brother. You guys know I'm going to be mystic this time around. You guys got to trust my picks. Kaikar France, man, he's going to do it as an underdog. I'm going to put a lot on Kaikar France. You guys, if you trust me, you'll tell that. But that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed, and God bless. 2, 3.